Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for joining to this event. We'll begin our session in a few minutes' time. Meanwhile, please ensure that you have a stable internet connection. You are greatly encouraged to turn on your camera throughout the session. Kindly mute your audio throughout the program and use the chat box message for any inquiries. So unmute your microphone for any question. Please use the raise your hand button reaction to ask any question. Thank you for your kind cooperation. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And hi everyone. Welcome to our event, STEM Global Forum, Accelerating STEM During and Post COVID-19 Pandemic. My name is Aina Bashira from Perintis Youth Club IIUM, and I will be the MC throughout our program today. A very good afternoon to everyone here in Malaysia with me. And since we are having global participants today, a very good afternoon to those from Japan. And good morning to those from the United Kingdom. No matter where we are from all around the world, I would like to kindly thank you for being here in this Zoom space to participate in today's forum session. So today we have here our three panelists with us, Professor Dr. Norita Muhammad Nurwawi, Dean of Center of Graduate Studies, USIM from Malaysia, Professor Dr. Takaku Hashimoto, Chair of IEEE Japan Council, and Dr. Nadira Jamil, Communications Test Design Incorporated CTDI from United Kingdom. Also, our forum moderator, Assistant Professor Dr. Natasha Abdul Rauf from Kuliah of Engineering, IIUM Malaysia. Our invited VIPs, Professor IR Technologist Dr. Ahmad Atif Muhammad Fauzi, President of Persatuan Saintis Muslim Malaysia, Perintis, Associate Professor IR Dr. Ahmad Sabirin Zulfaqar, Chair of IEEE EDS Malaysia, Associate Professor Dr. Rosmina Zwin Abdul Rahim, Advisor of Perintis Youth Club IIUM, respected guests, and all participants. Thank you so much for being here today with us. Before we begin, I would like to welcome Brother Muhammad Irfan on the screen to lead our prayers to bless this event. Please, Brother Irfan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wabihi nasta'in. Wal'aqibatu lil muttaqin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Allahumma ya Allah. On this glorious day, in conjunction with STEM Global Forum, we uphold our hands to pray gratefully to thank on your infinite favor to us till we can live in peace and harmony to perform our task as your servant. O Allah, we ask your blessing to make this occasion in success. Allahumma ya hayyu ya qayyum ya dhal jalali wal ikram. Please bless us with your tawfiq and hidayat. Please guide us to greatness, peace, glory, and prosperity in this world and the hereafter. Make us a responsible intellectual. Grant us with available knowledge that will beneficial us to mankind in order to gain your mardatillah. Make us a righteous servant that followed your commands and neglect the sinful act. Please forgive us for our wrongdoing. Allahumma ya Hafiz ya Raqib. O Allah, you are the most forgiving and one who loves forgiving. Therefore forgive us and wish all the present in this forum a very pleasant and productive one and a memorable event in our beautiful university that will be held in the future. Bestow peace to our beloved country Malaysia and all over the world. Preserve us from any threat and disaster, neither man-made nor natural disaster. And to you, Ya Allah, we ask for security and prosperity upon us, our leaders and our country. Bestow patience in us In order to face the challenges from you, please accept our deeds and please reward us accordingly. Amin ya rabbal alamin. Allahumma ja'al jam'ana hadha jam'an marhuma wa tafarruqana min ba'dihi tafarruqan ma'suma. Rabbana zalamna anfusana wa illam taghfir lana wa tarhamna lanakunanna minal khasirin. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzaban nar. Sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Amin ya Rabbal Alameen. Alhamdulillah, and thank you so much, Brother Irfan. May we all get the blessings from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to conduct our agenda today smoothly, as well as to nurture science that is rahmatan lil alameen, inshallah. So let us now start our session by listening to the opening remarks from the President of Perintis, Professor IR Technologies, Dr. Ahmad Atif Muhammad Fauzi. The screen is now yours, Professor.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Konnichiwa. Selamat petang to all the audience and my respective invited speakers. So my name is Ahmad Atif Muhammad Fauzi from Perintis. I'm also a lecturer from University Technology Malaysia. I would like to welcome Associate Professor Dr. Ahmad Sabirin, the Chair for IEEE EBS Malaysia. Our three distinguished speakers, Professor Dr. Norita Muhammad Norwawi from USIM Malaysia, Professor Dr. Takaku Hashimoto, the IEEE Japan Council 2021 to 2022, and our third speaker, Dr. Nadira Jamil from CTDI United Kingdom. So as part of the program organizers, we are collaborating together with British Youth Club IIUM chapter, and the advisor for the IIUM chapter, Dr. Rosmin, have been organizing well the event together with my STEM ambassador and also the IEEE EBS Malaysia in organizing this STEM Global Forum. This forum will be gathering three different speakers from three distinguished areas, Malaysia, UK, and Japan, to talk about STEM in this current pandemic situation. And we believe that there are few sharing that we're going to hear from different culture, different professional background, and hopefully we can get different perspectives on how the pandemic have been reshaping our STEM education in academia industry, in research, and also in the schools, for example. So hopefully we can find alternative ways on how to accelerate the implementation on STEM in Malaysia especially, and hopefully we can gain some new knowledge from our speakers, and later on we can implement. So as the president of the Persatuan Saintis Malaysia, I would like to welcome again everyone, and hopefully we will pray so that we can have a smooth and a great program, inshallah. So with that, thank you very much, and pass over back to you, Aina.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor IR Technologist, Dr. Ahmad Atif Muhammad Fauzi. Next, I will now welcome Associate Professor IR Dr. Ahmad Sabirin Zulfaqar, the Chair of IEEE EDS Malaysia, for his opening speech.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Professor Engineer Technologies Dr. Ahmad Atif Muhammad Fauzi, President of Perintis, Associate Professor Dr. Rosmi Nazwin Abdul Rahim, Advisor Perintis Youth IIUM, Professor Dr. Norita Muhammad Norwawi from USIM, Professor Dr. Takaku Hashimoto, IEEE Japan Council Chair, Dr. Nadira Jamil, Communication Test Design Incorporation, CTDI, United Kingdom, distinguished guests, participants, STEM Global Forum Secretariat, IEEE EDS, Perintis members, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon. I would like to thank the main organizer, Perintis Youth IIUM chapter, for inviting me to give the opening remarks at this wonderful event. As the co-organizer of these STEM Global Forums, IEEE EDS Malaysia chapter is committed to support the advancement of STEM, not only in Malaysia, but also at the global level. During the pandemic, changes resulted from lockdowns, quarantine, and travel bans produced by the produced by a new lifestyle of working from home for most people. This new virtual life world has somehow impacted our activities and program execution, especially STEM-related program. Nevertheless, being STEM players, we are taking proactive measure throughout the dynamic changes in our activities by turning the physical hands-on activities and live forum or seminar to virtual-based program. In making sure the success of the effort, we believe regional and international collaborations with other STEM players from all over the world is something that should be maintained and sustained for the years to come. At IEEE, our core purpose is to foster technological innovation and excellence for the benefit of humanity. Despite the pandemic, at IEEE DS Malaysia chapter, we managed to conduct various programs, including international conferences, series of seminar, and forum through the industry academia collaboration. Humanitarian activities such as distribution of tablets to underprivileged students and many other educational activities involving university and school students. We are happy to collaborate with other organizations sharing the same vision and mission of IEEE. We believe together we can do more, can inspire more, and can give impact more to our local and global communities. Therefore, I would like to congratulate the effort being done by the Prentice in organizing this timely STEM forum entitled Accelerating STEM During and Post-COVID-19 Pandemic by inviting speakers from all over the world, namely Japan and United Kingdom, as well as Malaysia. I hope this forum will run smoothly and can benefit all the audience. Thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Back to you, Miss MC.
Alhamdulillah, thank you. Thank you so much, Associate Professor IR Dr. Ahmad Sabirin Zulfaqar. We are now almost there to our main agenda, but before that, let us watch this short introduction video by Prentice. This STEM Global Forum is mainly organized by a Perintis Youth Club IIUM under Persatuan Saintis Muslim Malaysia Perintis in collaboration with IEEE EDS Malaysia as well as My STEM Ambassador. For those who like to get to know more about Perintis Youth Club IIUM, please follow us on Instagram at PYIIUM. Now, to begin our forum session, let us watch this 1-minute teaser video to set everyone in motion and gain a better understanding on today's topic. Please play the video. Thank you. This STEM Global Forum is conducted with the purpose to share the influences of this COVID-19 pandemic on STEM implementation, especially in the aspects of education, research, and industry. We are here today to discuss possible options for accelerating and advancing STEM implementation globally within this pandemic. Without any delay, please welcome our moderator and all three of our panelists for the forum session. The screen is all yours.
Thank you, Sister Aina. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good evening to all. Thank you very much for investing your time with us on this Saturday evening. My name is Dr. Natasha and I'm going to be your moderator for today's forum, which entitled Accelerating STEM, which is the acronym for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics during and post-COVID-19 pandemic. Today, we have three amazing speakers on our forum where we'll be talking about how COVID-19 pandemic has impacted the implementation of STEM in education, research, and industry, and how to move forward in this situation. Before we dive into our discussion, I would like to first introduce our honorable speakers. Our first speaker is Prof. Dr. Norita Mat Norwawi. Prof. Dr. Norita is the Dean of Center of Graduate Studies, University Science Islam Malaysia. She graduated with bachelor degree in computer science from University of New South Wales, Sydney, Australia, and obtained her master degree in computer science from UKM and PhD from UUM. Her main research area are artificial intelligence and data analytics. Prof. Dr. Nadira also is an EXCO member of Perintis and a member of Association of Advanced AI and IEEE Computer Society. Our second speaker is Prof. Dr. Takaku Hashimoto. Prof. Takaku graduated from the Ochanomizu University in Japan and received a PhD in computer science specialization in multimedia information processing from the Graduate School of Systems and Information Engineering of University of Tsukuba in 2005. She worked at the Software R&D Center of Ricoh Company Limited in Japan for 24 years. And participated in the development of many software products as a technical leader. From April of 2009, she was involved in Chiba University of Commerce. In 2015, she stayed at University of California, Los Angeles as a visiting researcher. She is currently the Vice President and Professor of the Faculty of Commerce and Economics at Chiba University of Commerce. She focuses on the data mining research and the social media analysis. especially topic extraction from millions of tweets related to disasters and topical problems like COVID-19. She served as a board member of the Database Society of Japan, chair of IEEE Japan Council, and board of governors of IEEE Computer Society, and has served as the past chair of IEEE Women in Engineering. In 2019, she received the IEEE 2019 MGA Larry K. Wilson Transnational Award and Fellow of the Information Processing Society of Japan. Our third speaker is Dr. Nadira Jamil. Dr. Nadira graduated from the International Islamic University Malaysia, where she obtained her bachelor degree and master degree in electronics engineering. While in Malaysia, she was attached with Texas Instruments and Infineon Technologies for 6 years before pursuing her PhD at the University of Edinburgh. Her PhD research involved in designing flexible microelectrode arrays, which were used in monitoring the growth of breast cancer cells in three-dimensional cell culture. Dr. Nadira Jamil is currently engaged with Communication Test Design Incorporation in Glenrothes, Scotland, as an application development engineer. She is also a member of the Institution of Engineering and Technology, as well as Muslim Scientists Europe. Welcome all speakers. Okay, so without further delay, let us start with our first round discussion. Prof. Norita, we have been experiencing the COVID-19 pandemic for more than a year already, and currently the reported positive cases have been consistently high in Malaysia. What is your comment on this scenario, and what measures need to be taken by the authorities to curb the virus, particularly in higher learning institutions? Please, Prof.
Thank you very much, Dr. Natasha. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, good morning. Okay, and to respected President of Prentice, Prof. IR, Dr. Atif, to Associate Professor Dr. Ahmad Sabirin, the Chair of IEEE Malaysia, and to Dr. Rosmi, the advisor of Prentice Youth, and fellow panel, Professor Takaku, konnichiwa, and hajime mashite. I'm trying my Japanese. And of course, Dr. Nadira Jamil, nice to meet you too on this virtual platform, and all distinguished guests and participants of this global STEM forum. Thank you very much for inviting me, and I feel honored to be here today. And I hope we'll be able to do justice to the invitation and share some insight on this. Okay, so regarding the COVID-19 disease, now why probably we can look at why the disease spread so quickly. Okay, and we can see 4 reasons of this phenomena. Number one is the hopping around the globe, or the globe. Now, since the air transportation is very sophisticated now, right? We can fly to Japan and we can fly to UK probably within one day, half a day sometimes, to other countries, right? And as we know that the coronavirus in the host, the human host, they might stay for 10 days or 14 days, meaning they are with us longer than if we travel to Japan today, you know. Okay, so because of that, so that could be one of the reasons why the virus spread so quickly around the world. All right. So there's a software called Blue Dots. It's a big data and AI software that they watch the epidemic around the world, and they were able to alert the world on the first occurrence in Wuhan. And not only they were able to alert the situation, but they were able to forecast that which country next, you know. And how do they know that? Based on the studying the traveling pattern. You know, people from Wuhan, and after that they go to Singapore, they go to Philippines, and that were the countries that next got infected with the virus. So the traveling, the traveling is one of the factors why the disease spread so quickly, not only in China but all around the world. Right? Okay, number two, can we go to the slide? Next. Okay, number two is the urbanization, right? In Malaysia, for example, 77% of the population they live in the urban areas or the suburban areas, right? So and as we can see, even from the photo shows that it's an overcrowded situation, and sometimes it could lead to a very unhygienic environment. So, and we can see in Malaysia, some of the cities that was seriously got infected by this disease is, for example, Selangor, because in Selangor is a very high industrial state, okay, and there's so many people, workers and things like that, and that's why I think they are badly hit by the pandemic as compared to Perlis, you know. there's a very few cases in Perlis. Okay, another reason because of the climate change. Okay, and one of the characteristics in the climate change is that the disease will spread easily because of the high temperature. Okay, and the last one is the interaction of the increased interaction of human and animal. Okay? So we are entering into the animal habitat because you know, there's a need of getting the wild food, you know, all this exotic kind of food, and that's why the disease begin. Now, if you look at all these four factors, all we can zoom into is a human the human behavior, right? And of course, in order to curb this disease, then the intervention must be the human. Be it the government, be it the society as a whole. All right. So, okay. Next. Okay. So if you look from the Malaysian trend, at each peak, actually, if we study closely, those peaks actually indicates an outbreak because of some social gatherings. Probably because of one is because of the voting, and number two because of there's a lot of wedding, you know, going on around, and then of course reopening of the schools. Okay? So in the beginning, I think in middle of around end of 2020, we were able to flatten the curve. But when we able to flatten the curve, we become complacent. Okay, and we loosen up on the measures. Okay, and weakening the measures, and that's why we can see the peak again, right? And I think most probably not many people understand that this is serious. I have friends who are not only frontliners, but friends who volunteer. You know, whenever there's a death, so his team will, you know, bury the disease. Okay. Okay. Next. And we should not look at, when we look at the statistic, don't just focus on the new cases, but we should also look at the discharge. Okay, so for example, yesterday it was 17,577. Yes, it's a big number, but if you just focus on that, then you will feel stressful and things like that. But you have to also look at the discharge, which is 20,970, meaning that we are moving into a good direction. It's a good indicator. Okay, next slide. And this is also another indicator, which is the R0. So R0 shows, you know, the spread of the disease. And probably in August it was 1.04. So it's not a good number. The benchmark was 1, but alhamdulillah now, September we can see that the R0 is less than 1. So. But again, this does not mean we have to be complacent. The SOP must be observed. Okay, and the next slide, we still have to oblige with this campaign wear your mask, wash your hands, and just observe whatever the regulations by the government, and avoid crowded places. And you can see now people going to the beach, going to, and they see, you cannot see the beach, you only see people. And I think you have to be smart. If it's crowded, don't bring your family there, don't ask for trouble, so we have to self-regulate ourselves, okay, and avoid confined places, and of course observe the distance. And I think in Malaysia, the vaccine is going in the right direction. We have about 76.8% already vaccinated, and the government is ready to announce an endemic, meaning that COVID-19 is around us, but we still need to continue with all the SOPs. And I think the university is also opening, but of course we have to observe. We need to limit the numbers, and the online classes is still going on. And I think it would be around probably maybe 1 or 2 years until we are really free from this disease. I think that's all, Dr. Natasha, from the first round. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. What an insightful information and opinion. Now, let's move to Dr. Nadira. Dr. Nadira, United Kingdom has been seen as quite successful in managing the pandemic. How is it like now as we have new variants that are said to be more aggressive? And what are the approaches taken by the authorities to handle the spread of the virus? Please, Doctor.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening. And I'm not quite sure if there is any participant from the UK, but yeah, very good morning as well for those coming from this side of the world. Thank you very much, Dr. Natasha, and also the organizing committee for firstly inviting me to speak in this forum along with two distinguished professors, Professor Norita and Professor Takaku. And also, I am very, very, very pleased to virtually return to IIUM, where I did my undergraduate and master's. So, Dr. Natasha, back to your question. Well, I would not say that the UK has been successful in managing the pandemic because the infection rate over here is still high to date. But however, when we said about vaccination program, then the answer is yes, because we can say that the UK government has done a very successful program, and that includes the success of the Scottish government in rolling out the vaccination from the early stage of the pandemic. So we have heard a lot of common variants of coronavirus, namely like Beta, Delta, and Lambda. And currently the Delta variant, it accounts for almost all of the UK cases. And we also may not be aware that there's also other variants of coronavirus that have been detected in the UK. One is known as the Alpha variant, which was first detected in November 2020 from a sample taken in September in the UK. And it began to spread quickly by mid-December last year. And also recently, the other one is the Mu variant, which was first identified in Colombia, but has then been detected in the UK recently. So among the above variants, the Delta variant is still a threat in the UK because most of the patients here that need hospital care were those infected with the Delta and very few with Alpha infection. So it is said that the risk of hospital admission was twice as high for those diagnosed with the Delta variant compared to those with Alpha. So as far as the new variant Mu is concerned, the WHO has included the variant in the watch list of what they called a variant of interest. So it was found to possess a cluster of mutations that may make it less susceptible to the COVID vaccinations that we have just now. So a report made by the Public Health England in July this year said that the Mu variant is found mostly in London among people in their 20s. And recently, early this month in September, the cases of the new Mu variant have been found in Scotland. So although it has been labeled as the variant of interest, it has not yet been deemed as a what we call a variant of concern, so which requires more precaution. So we have the health service here, which is known as the National Health Service, or in short, we call it NHS in Scotland. So they have introduced a mobile app we call Protect Scotland, where we can update our COVID test results. So it allows the mobile owners, and also they will be notified if they had a close contact with someone who has been infected by the virus. So the Protect Scotland app is actually a part of the Test and Protect, which is Scotland's approach to preventing the spread of coronavirus in the community. So in terms of testing, we have the luxury to access a rapid lateral flow test kits that we can order, and it will be delivered to our homes for free. Right, so the current approaches taken by authorities to handle the spread of the virus, well, it's definitely the vaccination, because it plays a major role in mitigating the COVID infection. And to date, we have like more than 90 adults that have done the vaccination program. I mean, their vaccination dose, the first one, and then more than 18 have completed their 2 doses vaccination. So the UK government, they have projected to achieve a herd immunity of above 80% soon, and currently those at 16 years of age, more than 80% have completed their 2 doses. So plans are ahead to vaccinate those in the category of 12 to 15 years of age. I think that's pretty much. I have a lot to say here, but then that's it probably for now, the first round.
Thank you, Dr. Nadira. Such a good sharing from what Yuki has done. I agree with you totally on the awareness of the vaccination program is very important among the citizens, right? Okay, thank you, Dr. Nadira. So now let us go from UK to Japan. Okay, Prof. Takaku, as we know, Japan has successfully held the World Sports Event, Olympics and Paralympic Games, Tokyo 2020. Many athletes and their troops came to Japan. So what was the preparation looks like when having to host international events that drew many people during the pandemic? How is the situation in Japan after these 2 world events? Please, Prof.
Okay, thank you. Can you share their, okay? Thank you so much. Okay, and first of all, I would like to thank to all the organizers of this wonderful event. And Aliza is my good friend, and Natasha, thank you so much for sending me many emails to navigate me. And also, I'm so happy to be with the Professor Norita and Professor Nado here, so distinguished speakers. So very happy to give their talk about the situation of Japan now. Okay, please go next. So yes, as you know, so we had our Olympic Games and Paralympics Games from July to this month. And this is a graph of the number of new reinfections in Tokyo. And the left rectangle shows the date and Tokyo Olympics Games and the Paralympics Games. And you can see we had a really big wave. So we call the fifth wave of the Delta variant of COVID-19. And actually during the Olympic Games, we had many new reinfections every day. And a lot of people questioned the hosting of this big event. Actually, organizers face a lot of criticism. And you may know Japan is quite difficult country, and Japan is not capable of strict lockdown. So Japan cannot force people, just ask them, please do not this, something like that. So Japan tend to respect the will of the individual. So therefore, it cannot take the strict method. Okay, go to the next slide. So, and during the Olympic game, so infection prevention has always been based on people's moral and awareness. And for the Olympic Games, the government used the bubble method. The bubble method is to cover the Olympic athlete and officials with a bubble-like method, so to protect them from their infection. And for example, after arriving in Japan, athletes were transported to their Olympic village by a special bus. And during the Olympics, they are only allowed to go and back between the Olympic village and the stadium. So, however, this is not so any strict method, strict system, and athletes, of course, athletes are not under the constant surveillance. So strict are not under the constant surveillance, and their behavior is based on their own standards and their moral. So, of course, the basic precautions such as social distance and COVID-19 applications on mobiles and the use of masks and disinfectants and discouraging the large gatherings and promoting online classes gathering, so will be taken. But Japan, again, we do not force people, but rather we respect people's morals and awareness to fight infection. And this is quite special initiative in Japan. I think this is the characteristics of Japan. And so we do not utilize the strict system, but based on we trust people's moral and awareness. And as a result, the number of the COVID-19 infections related to the entire Tokyo Paralympics was just 863. I think this is a quite small number, and the Olympic organizer won the COVID-19, I believe. Yeah, please go next. And after Paralympics, so actually during the Olympics, we had a fifth wave of Delta variant of COVID-19, but after Olympics, so the fifth wave is almost over. So right now, Japan is still under a state of emergency and soft lockdown. So mainly in the major metropolitan areas. So, but the number of infections is greatly decreasing. So, and we are overcoming the fifth wave. And the reason for this decrease has yet to be analyzed precisely, but it is believed to be due to the vaccination, at least. So, and actually, Professor Navidora mentioned vaccination is a very important way to protect us from the COVID-19. And the vaccination rate in Japan is currently over 60% of the population. So, and of 50% have had 2 doses, so fully vaccinated. And 12% of the population partially vaccinated, had only 1. But our government had said that all those who wish to be vaccinated will be done by the end of October. So therefore, so soon, most of Japanese will be vaccinated, we hope. And depending on the vaccination rate, so we are overcoming this situation, and soon we hope we can enjoy the gathering in large and having dinner and something like that. So yeah, this is Japan situation. And so this is quite specific characteristics of Japan. So we do not have a strict method, but we have a kind of, we trust people's moral and awareness, and we ask them not to do this, not to do this. And the Japanese people basically follow that. And fortunately, we are now overcoming this situation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prof. Takaku, for your informative and interesting sharing. To the audience, if you have any questions to our speakers, you may post your questions in the chat box, or you can wait and ask during our Q&A session after the third round. Now let us move to our second round. I would like to go back to Prof. Norita. Okay, Prof, it must be admitted that the pandemic has enlightened us that education can actually be conducted through online platforms, in which it opens new alternative of teaching and learning methods in the future. So people in the education sector worldwide, including us in Malaysia, have changed our medium of teaching and learning into an online basis during this pandemic period. However, as we all know before this, to effectively deliver the understanding, STEM subjects involve a lot of practical learning, hands-on activities and demonstration in the laboratories, and face-to-face interaction between the students and the teachers. So what do you think are the struggles faced in our STEM education system, and how to overcome all these struggles? Please, Prof.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Natasha. Yeah, I agree that the struggle is real. Because it's a new approach. You know, I think being somebody who's in the IT, probably 15 years ago, 20 years ago, we have started campaigning about online learning. Yeah? But with the pandemic, it's a kind of, you have got no choice but to go to online learning, right? But from my own personal experience, I'm teaching computer programming ever since the pandemic. So now it's already into the fourth semester. From the classes, even though it's computer programming, they have to do the hands-on. But I think in my case, my students perform much better with the online learning, because I think because they can see the screen. They can see I'm typing the codes and how I correct, do the debugging, correct the error and so on. And if they miss that step, they know that there will be a recording, and they can revise the class through the recordings. And I think this has helped the students to gain better understanding. As compared to a face-to-face class, I might be explaining something, at the blackboard in front, and they might have another class behind the class, so they were not paying attention. If they missed it, and that's it, But I think with this online, it is a blessing, because not only they can, it's a kind of a personalized attention because it's in front of their screen, but they can also follow the recording. And I find with my computer programming classes, they perform much better with this approach. And of course, in terms of the postgraduate studies, who the most affected by this COVID-19 because of the lockdown and everything, is those students who in their research they need to do their labs, but where in certain situations we allow them to come to the universities, but we have to control the numbers, we have to arrange the time and things like that. But when the situation doesn't permit, then it's something that we have to accept, because even in Islam, protecting one's a person is our top priority. Safety is number one. So I think we need to understand that. And of course, since as being the Center of Graduate Studies, we understand the situation and we are a bit more flexible in terms of the procedures and things like that. But in terms of schools, I think I really respect the teachers. I mean, they are really creative, And I love this photo of a girl. I mean, I wonder who is the teacher. She is so into it, you know. And probably we can, if we can see the first Cikgu Halmi is a TikTok, you know, teaching science through TikTok. I think it's very interesting.
Dan kita letak tempat yang cerah.
Yeah. So this is a science experiment on microorganism. So it's just around the house. I know he's wearing his kind placard and teaching science. You know, it's very interesting. I think the teachers are very creative, and we have to show a scientific phenomena. So I think this is something commendable. Yeah? Can we go to the next slide? The next video. Okay, just stop the video here. Okay, you see these 4 teachers, they are teaching science to the secondary kid. You know, you look at the teachers, you can see it's fun, you know. And so she's wearing this. There is a kind of a rabbit-like, you know, hat, I think. And because the subject of this science is about animals. Okay, so I think this creativity, this innovation through online, you know, they were able to get the attention and the interest of the students. Okay, the next video. And I think we can fast forward to. So this is a video by the students, and this is a simple experiment. Just use a mineral water bottle and balloon to show how our lungs function, right? So it's around the house, and they just have to be creative on how to demonstrate a scientific, because scientific phenomena is around us actually. So I think it would be good that the student realize that this scientific phenomena is around us. You know, look at the tree, and you can talk about photosynthesis and things like that. You know? And I think one of the video I didn't attach it here. The teacher would like to teach about light and darkness. So what he did is, you know, in Malaysia we have the wayang kulit. It's a kind of puppet show, okay? And the student will be able to understand light and darkness through that puppet show. So I think this creativity by these teachers is something that we really have to, you know, appreciate. And in fact, this Cikgu Halmi, he won an award for his effort, you know, using teaching science through TikTok, all right? And I think there's a lot of, okay, if you just click. Just click on the slide. There's a poster on STEM online challenge. Okay, so I think this is also a good effort, all right, and this will bring in the creativity and innovation. So yes, we cannot go to the lab, but the lab is around us actually. So you just have to be creative and innovative and how to teach the students on science is around us. And what is more interesting, the parents are very much involved, you know, in this class. So I think yes, it is a problem, but in every problem there is an opportunity. You know, there's blessings in everything, and you just have to be creative on how to educate the students on science. And I think the COVID-19, besides the frontliners are the heroes. I think everybody can see the role of science and technology, you know, through the medical, through the engineering, through this data analytics and so on. And I think it is a blessing. It gives, it's a kind of a showcase for science and technology innovation. And I hope this will create more interest, yeah, to the young on science and technology. I think that's all I can share, Dr. Natasha. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof, for the stimulating suggestion. I think it is interesting that when we think about it, that this pandemic is actually forcing us, yeah, in a good way, of course, to be more creative in our methods to deliver the education. Okay, so thank you, Prof. Okay, Prof. Takaku, we have heard about the struggles faced to effectively deliver the understanding in STEM subjects in our education system from Prof. Norita just now. But it cannot be denied that STEM research as well are forced to go through a lot of challenges during the pandemic, especially when it involves laboratory works and expensive laboratory equipment. So how far do you think this pandemic has changed STEM research characteristics and circumstances? What are the struggles that are faced by STEM researchers, and how do they overcome these issues? Please, Prof.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So, thank you. Yeah, actually, through this pandemic, the STEM research has shifted significantly to the research related to COVID-19. And actually, Japan Science and Technology Agency, JST, is now providing the large budget, large funds to the researchers, and we can submit our application to get the big fund. But so before submitting our application, we have to know the tendency of the current research movement. And I would like to share the kind of the research tendency or STEM research tendency with you. So this graph shows the number of the COVID-19 papers. And you can see there have been a dramatically increase in the number of research papers with the spread of COVID-19. So anyway, the total number of COVID-19 papers is so increasing. And scientists have published well over 100,000 articles last year about the coronavirus pandemic. But we need to take the preprint rush. So you can see the blue line of this graph. So more than 30,000 of the COVID-19 papers published in last year were preprint. This is a preprint rush. So the researchers are publishing their research quickly. So and this is very important. So tendency. So it is becoming increasingly important to publish research results more rapidly. This is very important tendency of our STEM research. Okay, go next. And another point is topic changes. So this graph shows the topic of the COVID-19 paper topic, time series topic changes. Okay, and there are significant changes in this topic from this graph we can see. So at first, so early 2020, so the main topic was the modeling epidemic control spread. The main topic of COVID-19 paper was they focused on the spread of disease. But actually this topic, these were mostly saturated after May, okay? And instead, there has been growing interest in mental health research. There is a light blue line shows the mental health topic growing, okay? And another growing topic is diagnostic and also the hospital mortality and also mental public healthcare problem. So this is another tendency, and actually from disease spread to mental health. This is another important tendency of topic changes, research topic changes. Please go next. Sorry, next one. Okay. So therefore I think the challenge for STEM research is not only the kind of cost or getting fund, but also how quickly conduct comprehensive and collaborative research that include the different perspectives, such as mental health and politics and economics and so on. So we need to tackle the comprehensive research in this difficult situation. And I would like to introduce one example, successful example of the integrated research in Japan, conducted by Research Center for Medical Big Data. by National Institute of Informatics in Japan. This is a quite collaborative project between medical and informatics and artificial intelligence. And actually, the medical societies, including hospital and universities, upload their medical images, such as lung X-ray photos or images, to the shared server in cloud. And the AI researchers and the medical researchers, informatics researchers are working together to detect COVID-19 symptoms. So this collaborative platform were already established in Japan, and we already got 250 million images, quite big data in Japan. So this kind of initiative will be done, already done in all over the world, but basically most of them are independent projects. But this project led by National Institute of Informatics. So this is a national institute and led all over Japan, and we could establish this big data platform, and we can work together, medical researchers and AI informatics researchers. This is very important initiative in this COVID-19 situation. So yeah, actually STEM has become a social infrastructure, and research need to be conducted in a diverse collaboration with various disciplines. Building this kind of integrated team will be the most important challenge in this situation. And once we can establish this diverse collaboration, I think we can get much money or we can get good fund. Yeah, and we need to work together. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Takaku, for the great information and sharing. I think it can be said as well that STEM researchers are also being forced, to be more creative to relate our research to COVID-19. Hence, we can see that the increasing trend of COVID-19 publication, right? Okay, thank you very much, Prof. All right, so far we have heard elaboration from our speakers from STEM education and research perspective. But let's not forget that industrial sectors are also affected by COVID-19 pandemic. Dr. Nadira, Malaysia's economy has been greatly impacted by the implementation of the MCO. A lot of industries, sectors, and factories need to be closed down. How about the situation in UK? How did STEM industries in the UK survive during this pandemic? Please, Doctor.
Well, firstly, the economic growth of the UK, it has started to slow down since the Brexit referendum, which was in 2016. And then this situation has worsened in 2020 due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. And it has significantly impacted the British economy since then. So the UK GDP has declined by 9.8% in 2020. And starting year 2021, the economy has gradually opened up. And since then, we can see that the economic indicators have shown a strong economic recovery underway. So at the beginning of the pandemic outbreak, there are employees and staff in most industries were put on furlough. So speaking of the furlough scheme, the employees will be paid 80% of their salaries, where the employers are to pay 10% of their furloughed workers' usual wage, while the government will pay the balance of 70%. So the measures taken by the government to support employees and the self-employed has helped to contain the rise of the unemployment rate in the UK. And the furlough scheme has also made a strong impact in sustaining the economy, the British economy. So the UK is one of the world's largest producing countries, mainly in civil, military, aerospace, pharmaceutical industries, as well as petroleum. So however, this sector, they only account for about 17.4% of GDP and employs a very small number of 18% of the working population. So during the pandemic, this sector is not very much competitive, mainly due to the low productivity. So the economy of the UK, it relies heavily on the service sector, which employs the majority of the population, that is more than 81% of the workforce. And it contributes more than 71.3% of GDP. So that includes banking, travel agencies, arts and entertainment, accommodation services, and F&B. So recently I heard on the news yesterday, they were saying that the cinemas and theatres in the UK alone have already lost £2 billion throughout the pandemic. So most of the STEM industries here also have been impacted by the pandemic and are operating at about 50% capacity since year 2020, that was last year. So during the pandemic, it was found that the STEM sector here in the UK has withstood the impacts of coronavirus relatively well. And it is claimed that the STEM businesses surprisingly have fared much better than what we might have been expected. So it is quite recently, only after July this year, 2021, that the businesses are allowed to be free from any restrictions as during the pandemic. So since the majority of the adult population in the UK has now been double vaccinated, the UK government has finally removed all legal restrictions on social contact, and thus it further boosting the economy. However, there are also still strict guidelines to adhere at the workplace during the pandemic, where permissible staff are required to work from home. And then at the workplace, however, there are certain measures to be taken. For example, the implementation of a one-way system. We also have like glass barrier between workstations and also segregated lunch times. So all these are required as to mitigate the coronavirus spread. And also, for example, in my department, we are the test development team, and we have been advised to work from home since March 2020. That was just before the UK has gone into lockdown, the first lockdown. So a development kit was even being sent to my home so that I can work on my projects remotely. And I have just started going back to work occasionally since June this year. That was like, what, 3 months ago. So we are glad that my company, CTDI, we are considered as an essential industry. So for those who might not have familiar with our company, CTDI is a multinational test center for telecommunication devices, such as routers, set-top boxes, wireless extenders, and also mobile phones, for example. And so the good thing is that our company is not badly affected by the pandemic. So we did feel the pinch though, as the business was a bit slow a year ago at the beginning of the pandemic, as compared to the previous year that was like 2019 and before. So the industry is picking up just now. And alhamdulillah, we are now back to normal and with much higher back-to-back demands. And it seems that we may have a never-ending projects on hands until the end of the year. So to add, in addition to that, our development group recently this year, we managed to even win a contract with a new customer. It is a telecommunications company based in Switzerland. So we have a very great teamwork in the department where my colleagues, they will always be willing to lend a hand whenever they're on site, while I continue working remotely from home. So we have proven that we managed to get about 80% of our work done remotely, and it does not stop us from being productive as well as proactive. So that's actually a photo that I would like to share just before I end this round. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so this is our photo. We just took it like yesterday. And this is like the first time we've got in-person meeting after 18 months of working from home. And also just a taste of how would it be like being the only female in the industry. So these are the musicals I've been talking about. Professor Takaku, you look so excited. So yeah, that's from me.
Thank you, Dr. Nadira, for giving us an inclusive overview of what has been happening in UK. And also thank you for sharing with us such a nice photo of you and your colleague. Okay, so now before we go to our third round discussion, I would like to remind the audience once again to post any questions that you would like to ask to our speakers in the chat box, or you can wait until we finish this last round for the Q&A session. All right, so let's move on to our final round. Okay, Prof. Norita, previously you have already addressed the struggles faced by our fellow academicians and also our students in STEM education sector, right? So if let's say the pandemic prolongs, what is your advice to the teachers as well as the students to improve our future learning? And on the other hand, if the pandemic is over, what can we learn from this experience that we have gained throughout this pandemic period? For our next future learning as well. Please, Prof.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Natasha. Yeah, I guess the COVID-19 actually pushed the limits in terms of our creativity and innovativeness, and also in terms of teaching, definitely. I think that the online learning at the moment, or in fact, not only online learning, we can see the online services it's also increased drastically. For example, the food delivery, all these delivery services and online marketing. I'm sure Shopee, Lazada, and they are enjoying this period, because there's a lot of they are really busy, with these online services. So and I guess the COVID-19 is a showcase of that technology. So we have been trying to promote this online learning, online transaction, online business, and so on. But I think the COVID-19 push it, to the front, and we can see the potentials, because everyone needs to learn. So I think almost everybody knows what is Zoom, what is Google Meet, MS Team, and so on. And our youth, they are very much into these tools, Google Classroom and things like that. If I want to learn something, I will ask my daughter, "Can you teach me something on this?" And she's very resourceful in terms of technology, right? So I think the online, so the online will be part of us. So even in the universities, they have already asked us to consider online learning as part of the teaching and learning activities. And with this online, we can see how convenient it is to have an international forum today. So Prof. Takaku, you don't have to fly here, and of course Nadira, and we will be able to meet at one moment, even though it's morning in UK, and but we are here at the same moment, a moment of time. And I think this shows that the technology is the rahmatan. It's really a blessing to us, right? It's just that now that we have to look at ways on how to benefit from this technology. If we go to the next slide, okay, can you just click another one? Okay, and I think this is one teaching and learning approach that we are looking into, which is the flipped classroom. And for example, from the previous video, when the teacher was showing an experiment, at home. So he will bring the video to the class, the online class, rather than the student doing the experiment. They will discuss the experiment, So the student will observe that they will do their homework, observe the video, and they will share their thoughts with the teacher. So the students will do a lot of learning there. And I think with this internet and things, the student will be they have the resource is everywhere. Okay, and then the next one. Okay, can you just okay? And I think the global learning is It's just at the end of your finger. You know, it's a click. It's one click away. So we also challenge students, you know, to for example, to conduct webinars and so on. And please invite speakers from not just from Malaysia but from overseas, and to show them how convenient it is, right? And I think one of the features of education which was discussed 2-3 years back, which I think it's something that we can observe now. Can you just click so that we can highlight that part of that? Yeah, it's called a jukebox education. You know, during the early, I think the first wave, we have a lot of time, and I think at that time we can benefit that free time, and you can choose what you want to learn. I think after about 18 months now, I have followed online classes on data science. I'm taking certified programs online, and you choose what you want. It's a vast university. It's one university with a lot of things that you want to learn, and you just choose. And so this is, I think, a jukebox education showcase. Okay, and you can choose your lecturer. You want which lecturer, which country, just Google. And I think it will be the trend in the future. Yeah, and I think university will have a different shape. Probably not so much the physical, but it's the virtual space of education. And so I think the way we deliver our classes, our programs online will be part of that delivery. I think that would be the future. And of course now, in order to not only in education but in the community, in order to help the community, we are conducting online training for e-commerce. So how to do your online marketing through Facebook, through Instagram, and we have so many small, entrepreneurs coming into the picture. Either products or even in the agriculture. You have because they are at home, so they can use their home as their community garden. Their garden for them to plant herbs and things like that. And some, I think that's a project that I'm involved. After 9 months with the project, now they have the courage to sell, the vegetables that they plant and things like that. So I think more and more entrepreneurs are coming into the pictures, but just through this online training and so on. So I think the technology will be very much in there, and we have to search and find ways on how to really optimize the technology that we have. I think that's all from me, Dr. Natasha. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Norita, for the wonderful guidance you gave us. And I think instead of seeing this pandemic as a disaster, we can also say that it is actually a blessing for us, right? We actually have learned so much during this pandemic period as an educator. We have learned how to conduct class online. We have learned how to improve our deliverance in class. Okay, and in fact, we can use that knowledge, that new knowledge that we have gained, okay, when we have our face-to-face class later. Okay, let's say if we have any meetings to attend and we cannot attend our class for examples, so we can actually use this knowledge that we have gained for the future. Thank you very much, Prof. Norita.
Natasha, if I can just add,
Yes, Prof.
We actually plan for a policy. We call it a 1 day free car day. A free car day is actually a work from home. So it's an effort to reduce the carbon footprint. And since we already into the online, and work from home, it's a campaign which can easily understood by the campus.
Did it in USIM, Prof?
Yeah, that's it is part of the blueprint. So we plan a 1 day. We call it a free car day. So you don't have to come to work, but it's a work from home.
That will be nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Okay, now let's move on to Prof. Takaku. Okay, Prof. Takaku, we know that STEM industries in Japan is one of the best in the world. Okay, so what can we as Malaysians learn from Japan in refining or cultivating the STEM industry generally and STEM research specifically in today's context? Please, Prof.
Thank you. And can you show my, okay, last slide? Yeah. So as I mentioned, so now in our STEM research, so the research project will be more integrated and fused and collaborating with various fields. And I think the key for our research are as follows: diversity, integration, collaboration, and speed, and sharing, knowledge sharing, and also data sharing. So, and in order to promote such integrated research, so we need to collaborate across boundaries between academia and industry and countries and disciplines. So this is a very important diverse collaboration. And also we have to set our research motivation to be much more comprehensive and also thinking about society's benefit. So this is very important. And I believe IEEE can contribute to such an integrated research platform and promote such a collaborative research. Yeah. And I really hope that so researchers from the academia and industries are working together, and also from the different countries such as Malaysia and Japan and other countries, we work together and to develop the collaborative project to contribute to society to overcome this tough situation. This is a very important point for our future STEM, now current STEM research. So we need to tackle. So that is our, I think, point. Then the Malaysia and Japan and UK and a lot of people should work together and yeah, and this develop one kind of integrated project. So this is a point of our STEM research, and to overcome this tough situation, we need to promote this kind of research. This is my thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Takaku, for sharing with us such a motivating idea. Okay, let's work together. Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Okay, for our last questions to Dr. Nadira. Dr. Nadira, STEM students nowadays feel like they are lacking something. They don't have the same learning experience as the STEM students before, as in pre-COVID period. For example, like attending face-to-face class, conducting practical and hands-on experiments in laboratories, building a lot of lifelong learning skills in schools and universities. Even their practical training is sometimes a work-from-home basis. So as an industry representative, what is your advice to these batches of STEM students on how they should prepare themselves to be in the industry once they graduate? Please, Doctor.
Thank you, Dr. Natasha. I have to say that the pandemic has caused a great challenge across the higher education landscape. And the worst is in conducting the STEM teaching, which is focused on science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Because students, they will not be able to have a face-to-face teaching, and they are also denied of access to laboratory facilities. So it is absolutely very challenging for these students to have to go through classes and exams remotely during the pandemic. And I have not been in touch with my alma mater since my graduation, but I had the chance to speak to engineering students from the University of Edinburgh, as well as Heriot-Watt University. Both are in Edinburgh, Scotland, about remote learning during their undergraduate and also PhD, and how the pandemic has impacted their studies and research. So it is quite sad to see the lab works are non-existent, and students, they miss the hands-on experience of doing their lab work. And the most challenging part for the students is to have access like I said, to the lab facilities, for example, the testing equipment, the CAD program, fluid simulation, abacus, and others. However, this is when the university, they need to play a supporting role in allowing students to have access to, for example, university computers via VPN and enable them to work on their projects or other simulation works. But in fact, like Professor Norita previously mentioned in her sharing earlier on, it was a mere coincidence that most higher learning institutions have already started embarking on the implementation of a blended learning back in 2018, where a blended learning involved online educational materials and also online interaction. So it revolves both in interactive as well as virtual environments. And all theoretical inputs can be delivered through online, but the main obstacle would be doing the lab work. So universities, they have to maintain their high academic standards and practical experiences as required in the learning outcomes with respect to each degree program. And those in the academic, they have no choice but to take necessary steps to transform their teaching and be creative, and to switch to remote and including doing the laboratory workshops into an online or probably blended mode of delivery. And they have also to switch to remote teaching, apply different approaches to achieving laboratory practices learning outcomes. So there are various approaches that can be applied while developing virtual or online practical activities. But the main objective is to facilitate the students in conducting the experiment. So what are the procedures to follow and how to synthesize the observations. And the most important thing is how this experiment can evolve a range of lifelong and communication skills as well as laboratory practical skills. So we already know that there are available in the market a series of web developed kits or micro lectures and animations on computer-based laboratory experiments, for example, the LabVIEW. And the computer-based kits, they include like video clips, interactive simulations, formative and summative assessments, where some of the complex concepts and techniques, they can be easily illustrated by videos where students could find them useful resources to prepare before maybe, let's say, the actual laboratory work. So these also would enable students to understand what are the level of hazards associated with laboratory work, as well as to follow safe practices to prevent such conditions. Talking about computer-based laboratory practices or a software application, so it is claimed that computer-based laboratory practices are more effective in the development of students' ability to draw, understand, and interpret graphics than virtual laboratory applications. And that the computer-based laboratory as well as the virtual laboratory applications have a positive effect on students' attitude and motivations. So during the pandemic, like throughout the pandemic, I know some students, they may find it difficult, like the self-motivation to do their assignments or projects remotely. So I would suggest to have like a timetable for yourself, a schedule for a better time management. Because when you get into the real working life, especially in the industry where time is as important as money, so time management is very crucial, and practicing it as early as you can would definitely prepare you for it.
Thank you, Dr. Nadia. Such an inspiring advice to all the students out there and good idea and suggestions for the Institute of Higher Learning Education. Thank you, Doctor. All right, now that we have finished all 3 rounds of our discussion, I would like to open to the audience for Q&A session. Please press the raise hand button and the committee will unmute you to ask the speakers, to ask your questions to the speakers, or you can also post your questions in the chat box. Okay, let me have a look here. Okay, we already have some questions in the chat box. Okay, the first questions. Focusing on public and education sector from the previous experience of pandemic, SARS and COVID, what is the future plan for this sector to prepare if any other pandemic or maybe worldwide natural disaster happen? I think this one, Prof. Norita, maybe you can answer this. The question is from Mr. Yusuf.
Okay, right. Great. Now, I think the COVID-19 give us some insight on what higher institution should how to respond to this kind of a situation. So, for example, in my university, we have we come up with guidelines for what do you call it? Guidelines for when there's a situation similar like COVID-19. So how to deliver the class, how students can submit their thesis, and if they got infected with the COVID, what should they do? So we have already have the guidelines, the SOP, if a similar situation happen again. And I think we are much more informed now how to handle this kind of situation, I guess, right? And I think one of the pending issues that we are still having problem is actually how to handle the mental health. Some things you can handle by technology, but the mental health, and I think there's a lot of programs need to be designed for the students so that they would be able to, yes, it's stressful, no doubt about it, yeah. It is stressful, so that's why we for example, the lecturers, we are advised to to have at most 2 hours lecture. So the next 1 hour is for them to do their own work, so this kind of thing, so that because we understand the online is challenging. So but I think we really need to educate our students, and of course our lecturers also, on how to deal with the stressful situation. I think that helps. You can have a good technology, good lecturers, good delivery, but the mental state of the students is very important, and also the lecturers. And I think this is something that we really need to look at it. The human factor, because they are the one who will be receiving the education, and the lecturers are the one who are giving the education, and these human factors need to be really looked into it seriously. How we can give the support to them. I think that's what I can respond to Yusuf. Thank you, Yusuf, for the question.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Norita. All right, the next question is for Prof. Takaku. SARS, also from Mr. Yusuf. Okay, SARS and COVID-19 can be a blueprint for future third or any big natural disaster that will happen, flood mainly, which accompany with canicola. So is there any simulation for the situation, and is there any future preparation, if any, and can we know in advance? Okay. Okay, and there are actually 2 questions there. Maybe you can answer the first one first.
Okay, yeah. Actually, disaster management and disaster simulation is a major research topic in Japan. As you know, we have a lot of disasters so far, and we may have in the future. So, and we have a National Research Institute for Earth Science and Disaster Resilience. So we have a national institute, and this institute is leading such simulation, and we can have our data from them, and simulation data, and therefore such data is shared with many researchers, and also a lot of industries such as kind of NTT and other big industries have big data related to the climate, and also other kind of the data related to the disaster or kind of such kind of pandemic, and that data is also shared with the researchers. So therefore, we can share this utilize this data. Yeah, and to analyze or kind of predict the future disaster impact for us. But recently, so as for the education, we are now focusing on kind of the recommendations for new education. So as we know, the simulation ability or informatics ability is not sufficient for solving this tough situation problem. So we need to have a young generation that know a lot of things, information technology, and also political information and politics knowledge, and mental health knowledge, and medical knowledge, and other knowledge. So this, so therefore, we need to make the education more multidisciplinary. So, and we are now recommending such a recommendation to the Japan, Science Council of Japan, and from Science Council of Japan, we may propose to the government and Ministry of Education. So we need to change our educational system so students should know their social system, and the students should have the ability for designing the social system or social environment, thinking about the social system and social kind of such kind of process and people mindset. This kind of the integrated education is also very important for the future disaster, we think. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. I think you have already answered the second question as well. Is the data being processed in the institute open for public, like some of NASA's project?
Yeah,
you have an answer.
Yes. And but the RCMD, and just I introduced, the data is not yet opened, so that are provided in the closed community, but they are planning, because as I mentioned, data sharing is a key for the future, current and future research. So data-driven research is very important, and sharing good data, collecting good data, and sharing good data, and analyzing developing the big data analysis technique and analyzing the data. It's very important. Data is the key, and leader of this that project is planning to open the data, but still a lot of kind of restriction existing. But anyway, they plan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. All right, is there any other questions from the audience?
Yes, I would like to ask Dr. Nadira. Can I? So, Dr.
Yes, sure. Let's proceed.
After the pandemic has hit us, there is a concern on the decrease in the number of people choosing to join the STEM, particularly in the engineering field. So, what is your comment on this issue, and why the youth should not be scared to join engineering field? So that's it.
Well, okay. Is it Hannah that was asking the question?
Yes.
Okay, so Hannah, well, to be true, since the pandemic started, we actually realized that the STEM industry is one of, I wouldn't say safe, but one of the stable industries, because we are counted as essential, and there is even though there is a lack of interest to, like you said, further their education in STEM, but I would suggest that we should encourage the prospective students or the school kids, like how important STEM is, and then how we can have an interaction so that they would further understand the importance of STEM, and then how STEM actually played a vital role in the pandemic, in mitigating the virus and things like that. So there is actually no reason for not pursuing your studies in STEM, because STEM indeed, like I said before, is an important industry, and also there's a very less chance for you to be like being retrenched or furloughed if you are in this industry. To be honest, it's just like being in as one of the frontline workers. So the pandemic has actually proven us that the STEM indeed is a very vital industry or field that we need to actually work on.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Nadira. I would like to open again to the audience if there is any other questions. Anyone? Okay, if there is no more questions, then thank you to the floor for asking great questions just now to our speakers. We really appreciate your active participation in this forum. Now I would like to request all speakers to deliver 1 minute conclusion on our topic today. We'll start with Prof. Narita. Please, Prof. Prof, you are muted.
Okay, I think I'll end with two statements. One is in every problem there is an opportunity. So we look at the opportunity, and then there's a blessings in every situation. So you know, focus our energy, our mind into the positive aspect, looking for solutions rather than just focusing on the numbers and things like that. Don't look at the numbers on the new cases, but look also at the numbers who are recovering, so that it will give you hopes and things like that. And so I think even being a Muslim, we know that in every situation there's a blessings, and we trust and believe in that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Narita. Next, Prof. Takaku. 1 minute conclusion, please, Prof.
Thank you. Thank you so much for giving me this great opportunity. I could learn a lot from the Professor Norita's talk, and also the the talk. And I can learn the Malaysia situation and UK situation. So very, very interesting. And I understand. So we are still facing very tough situation, and we can share the many problems. So we are facing similar problems. So we can share a lot of their solutions and knowledge and experiences. So therefore, this kind of collaboration is very important. So working together and collaborating, continue to collaboration. So it is very important. And after this collaboration, I believe we can overcome this tough situation together. So therefore, I would like to continue to collaborate with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Takaku. Next, last but not least, Dr. Nadira, please.
I think Prof. Takaku has already mentioned my first conclusion, but yeah, to just say it again, I agree with Professor Takaku that this kind of forum is like a stepping stone to engage with the industry and to create a great network between different fields across different countries. And it is also a great opportunity to better understand what is happening on different sides of the world, and like what we just heard and shared today, and also what trying times that every one of us is going through. And also, last but not least, for the current students, whichever field you are keen to get involved with after finishing your studies, they all can be very stressful, be it in the academia, in research, or even in industry. So they are just a different kind of stress that you will need to handle. And like Professor Norita has just said before, looking after your mental well-being is very, very important. So just bear that in mind.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nadira. Now we reach to the end of our forum session. On behalf of the committee, I would like to thank our speakers and also our audience for lending us your ears and time on this Saturday evening. We hope you have gained beneficial knowledge and information from this session. Have a nice evening and stay safe, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Back to you, Sister Aina.
Alhamdulillah, such a fruitful session with our moderator and speakers. Thank you. And thank you very much to our three panelists, Professor Dr. Norita, Professor Dr. Takaku Hashimoto, and Dr. Nadira Jamil, as well as to our moderator, Dr. Natasha. I've learned so much from this session, and I believe we all do too. To all participants, as a reminder, don't forget to fill in the attendance and feedback form given in the chat box below to receive your e-certificate of participation. So we are almost there at the end of our session. I'll then pass the screen to Dr. Rosmi Nazwin to hand over the e-token of appreciation to our speakers. Please, Doctor.
Okay, thank you, Sister Aina. Okay, first of all, we would like to, on behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to express our appreciation to Prof. Atif and Dr. Ahmad Sabirin for giving out the opening speech representing Perintis as well as IEEE EDS Malaysia chapter. Thank you for joining us today. Then as a token of appreciation to our invited speakers, Prof. Norita, Prof. Takaku and Dr. Nadira Jamil, please accept our simple appreciation. And the first one goes to Prof. Dr. Norita Muhammad Nawawi as the first invited speaker. Okay, so we are honored to have you here as one of the speakers. Okay, thank you, Prof. Then the second appreciation goes to Prof. Takaku Hashimoto as the second invited speaker. Thank you so much for being with us today. Then, as you mentioned just now, we hope for more collaborations in something like this. Okay, thank you, Prof. And the third speaker, the third appreciation goes to Dr. Nadira Jamil. Okay, thank you, Dr. Nadira, for being here with us today. And we really appreciate your beneficial info related to STEMs and COVID and your sharing with regards to UK experiences. Thank you so much, Dr. Nadira.
Yes. Makes me feel like I'm homesick.
Welcome back to IIUM, isn't it?
Thank you.
Okay, then last but not least, we would like to express our appreciation to for this forum session. Thank you so much, Dr. Natasha. Terima kasih Dr. lagi, Dr. Natasha.
Thank you so much. You're welcome.
Okay, I think that's all from me. Sister Aina, I pass back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Rosmi Nazwin. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you to our moderator, our VIPs, as well as to all our participants today who have joined us, making this event a success. We hope that this forum is meaningful enough and insightful to help you in the future, inshallah. Before we end, let us now have a short photography session as a memory. Please turn on your camera for those who are able to do so.
Okay, I think I should take it now. Show me your brightest smile, please. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Another more. 1, 2, 3. Show me your brightest smile. ニコしてください。高久さん笑ってますね。はい。
Right, thank you, Akila. Alhamdulillah, so that's it finally for our event today. Thank you again, everyone, for participating in this STEM Global Forum, accelerating STEM during and post-COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you. Arigatou gozaimasu. We will now end this session with Surah Al-Aus and Tasbih Kafarah. Alhamdulillah, may you have a great day. Hope this forum is fruitful for you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Thank you to organize.